So that's his teacher. Student, teacher. This is Buddhist Books Podcast, episode 193, Tipiṭaka, part 121, in which we will continue reading the rules for nuns. Bhikkhunivibhaṅga means nun analysis, but rules for nuns, basically. And these are the Pācittiya rules, the rules of expiation. If you would like to start at the beginning of the Tipiṭaka playlist, feel free to click right there. All right, so when we were finishing up yesterday, I couldn't help noticing, my eye drifted over and I saw unfamiliar names. And so I knew that I was going to need to create some new characters. For those not familiar with what I'm talking about, in the Tipiṭaka Rogues Gallery, that's what that is. That's the shortened version of Tipiṭaka 100. That one just goes straight into the Rogues Gallery. What that is just basically a list of all the monks and nuns that we've heard the name of so far, and all the bad things that they did. Hence Rogues Gallery. They're not like shining examples of how to be a monk or a nun. These are the ones who did things that had never been done before in Lord Buddha's Sangha, and so he had to create a new rule based on what they did. So these are the stories of what they did. That's how the rules are being, rather than just a list of rules, they're stories, little stories. Anyway, so this next one, Pācittiya 52, seems a little more interesting than the last, 15 or 20 that we've read here on this program. So I'm looking forward to that. For one, I don't know about 53 or 54, but we'll find out together. If you'd like to start at the beginning of the rules for nuns, you can click there. Otherwise, I will, without further ado, get right into it. A little bit of ambient sound from the rain outside. You hear that? Okay, here we go. Expiation, Pācittiya 52. At one time, the Enlightened One, the Lord, was staying at Vesali in the great grove at the Hall of the Gabled Pillars. Now at that time, the Venerable Tipiṭaka, so this is Tipiṭaka, he's new to Buddhist Books Podcast. His name, as far as I remember, hasn't been mentioned yet. He, as you can see, for those familiar with Avatar, The Last Airbender, is in the form of Prince Zuko, who is, of course, the brother of Princess Azula, that's her name. And she is the character who we're using to represent Khanda Kali, and for reasons which will become clear, thank you, Khanda Kali. You're not in this story. They're brother and sister in the cartoon, but I think they're spiritual brother and sister a little bit. She's kind of grouchy, and well, I'll get to the story, and we'll have to see how this goes. Okay, now at that time, the Venerable Tipiṭaka, the Venerable Upali's preceptor, this is Upali, so this is Upali is the student, and Tipiṭaka is the teacher. Now, Upali, let's just do a quick flashback here. Upali! baby Kermit. You saw him before. He was one of the 17 monks, right? His parents said, if he becomes a monk, he'll be well taken care of. And he overheard his parents, and he went and told his 16 friends, and then they all became monks. The monk who initiated him got in trouble for initiating children. All right, so that was from the Tipiṭaka Rogues Gallery that I pointed to earlier. Upali was, as mentioned, initiated as a monk very young, and he was among the last 17 monks that are under the age of 20 to be initiated as Theravadan monks, in the original Sangha. Right. He ended up growing up and becoming one of the 10 principal disciples of Lord Buddha. So well done, Upali. I didn't realize that until I was doing a little bit of background research today. Anyway, so that's his teacher. Student, teacher. Okay, we're all here? Okay, moving right along. Now, at that time... okay. So the Venerable Upali's preceptor lived in a cemetery. So this monk here lived in a cemetery. All right. Maybe he was a little bit of an gory type. Let's just keep reading, shall we? I know there was a lot of unpleasant noise coming from this microphone touching the fabric yesterday. Hopefully that won't happen as much today. I'll pay more attention to that. Okay. Now at that time, an older nun of the group of 6 nuns... I guess they're going to have to be right here. Those 6 nuns are right here. I don't know. I don't know what else to do than that. So Upali, Kapitaka, group of 6 nuns. So apparently one of these 6 nuns was older and passed away. I guess that's why there's 5 now. Well, anyway, continuing. Having cremated her not far from the Venerable Kapitaka's dwelling place, having made a tomb, having gone, parentheses, there, end parentheses, wept at that tomb. Then the Venerable Kapitaka, troubled by that noise, having destroyed that tomb, scattered, parentheses, the materials, end parentheses. The group of 6 nuns took counsel, saying, quote, Our Lady's tomb is destroyed by this Kapitaka. Come, let us kill him. End quote. A certain nun told this matter to the Venerable Upali. The Venerable Upali told this matter to the Venerable Kapitaka. Then the Venerable Kapitaka, having gone out from that dwelling place, lay in hiding. Then the group of 6 nuns approached the Venerable Kapitaka's dwelling place. Having approached, having had the Venerable Kapitaka's dwelling place covered over with stones and clods of earth, they departed, saying, quote, Kapitaka is dead. End quote. Then the Venerable Kapitaka, at the end of that night, having dressed in the morning, taking his bowl and robe, entered Vesali for alms food. The group of 6 nuns saw the Venerable Kapitaka waiting for alms food. Seeing him, they spoke thus, quote, This Kapitaka is alive. However, did he foil our plan? End quote. The group of 6 nuns heard it. Right, okay. The group of 6 nuns heard it said, there we go, quote, Our plan was foiled by Master Upali. End quote. These reviled the Venerable Upali, saying, quote, How can this barber, a shampooing low birth, parentheses, person, end parentheses, foil our plan? End quote. those who were modest nuns, spread it about, saying, quote, how can this group of 6 nuns revile Master Upali? End quote, 3 dots. Okay, and these are the 3 dots in which word gets back to the monks, and then some of the monks tell Lord Buddha. Lord Buddha gathers the monks together and gives reasoned talk. And then at the end of reasoned talk, he says, quote, is it true, as is said, monks, that the group of 6 nuns reviled Upali? All right. End quote, quote, it is true, Lord, end quote, the enlightened one. The Lord rebuked them, saying, quote, how, monks, can the group of 6 nuns revile Upali? It is not, monks, for pleasing those who are not, parentheses, yet, end parentheses, pleased, 3 dots, this rule of training. Whatever nun should revile or should abuse a monk, there is an offense of expiation. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. All right, it's just us now. So that's fun. A whole lot of drama took place and ended with the rule that nuns shouldn't revile or abuse monks. Okay. Whatever means, heck, let's go ahead and do the flashback, shall we? Whatever means, she who is an elder or a junior or one of middle standing, this one on account of relations, on account of birth, on account of name, on account of clan, on account of virtue, on account of the way of living, on account of the field of activity, is called whatever. Thank you, me in New Delhi with longer hair tied back so you can't see. Never mind. Nun means she is a nun because she is a beggar for alms. She is a nun because she submits to walking for alms. She is a nun because she is one who wears the patchwork robes. She is a nun by the designation, parentheses, of others, end parentheses. A nun because of her acknowledgement. A nun, parentheses, to whom it was, parentheses, said, quote within quotes, come, nun, end quote within quotes. A nun is one ordained by the 3 goings to a refuge. A nun is auspicious. A nun is the essential. A nun is a learner. A nun is an adept. A nun is ordained by both complete orders by means of a, parentheses, formal, end parentheses, act, at which the motion is put and followed by 3 proclamations, irreversible and fit to stand. In this way is this nun one who is ordained by both complete orders by means of a, parentheses, formal, end parentheses, act, at which the motion was put and followed by 3 proclamations, irreversible, fit to stand, and this is how nun is to be understood in this case. Again, thank you. Monk means one who is ordained. Really? That's what monk means? I seem to remember monk meaning he is a monk because he is a beggar for alms, a monk because he submits to wandering for alms, a monk because he is one who wears the patchwork cloth, a monk by the designation, parentheses, of others, end parentheses, a monk on account of his knowledge, on account of his acknowledgement. A monk is called, quote, come, monk, end parentheses. A monk is endowed with going to the 3 refuges. A monk is auspicious. A monk is the essential. A monk is a learner. A monk is an adept. A monk means one who is endowed with harmony for the order, with the resolution at which the motion is put 3 times and then followed by the decision with actions, parentheses, in accordance with Dhamma and the discipline, end parentheses, with steadfastness, with attributes of a man perfected. Whatever monk is endowed with harmony for the order, with the resolution at which the motion is put 3 times
and then followed by the decision with actions, parentheses, in accordance with Dhamma and the discipline. I think that's implied, right? Maybe that's what they're saying. Okay, end parentheses. With steadfastness, okay, actions, like not just any old action, like actions that are, anyway. With steadfastness and the attributes of a man perfected, this one is a monk as understood in meaning, in this meaning. Okay.
Yeah, it's very similar to what nun means. Okay. For those who are still with us, should revile means, if she reviles with the 10 ways of reviling, I do hope we get to find out what the 10 ways of reviling are, or with any one of them, there is an offense of expiation. I think we're not going to find out what the 10 ways of reviling are. I'm a little disappointed about that. Kasavata, see PSS breath, that's BRETH 168 API 37. This scholarly stuff. It's rough. It's rough. I wish it read like a book and not like a scholastic document for research purposes. Anyway, okay. If she thinks, or should abuse means if she makes him afraid, there is an offense of expiation. If she thinks that he is ordained when he is ordained, parentheses, and parentheses, reviles or abuses him, there is an offense of expiation. If she is in doubt as to whether he is ordained, 3 dots. If she thinks that he is not ordained when he is ordained, 3 dots, offense of expiation. If she reviles or abuses one who is not ordained, there is an offense of wrongdoing. If she thinks that he is ordained when he is not ordained, 3 dots, maybe offense of wrongdoing. If she is in doubt as to whether he is not ordained, 3 dots, wrongdoing. If she thinks that he is not ordained when he is not ordained, there is an offense of wrongdoing. And for the first time in recent memory, there is no footnote saying, I think it's no offense. I think that Lord Buddha made a mistake. I think that the people who transcribed the Tipiṭaka in Burma 2,000 years ago, or 2,200, however long years ago, made a mistake. So thank you, footnote person, for remaining silent. I will try to take your example and do the same. Sorry. Anyway. There is no offense if she is aiming at, parentheses, explaining, and parentheses, the goal. So you can be abusive if you're teaching someone about the path or about nirvana. Okay. If she is aiming at, parentheses, explaining, and parentheses, a rule. If she is aiming at, parentheses, explaining, and parentheses, the teaching. If she is mad. If she is the first wrongdoer. Every once in a while, I like to pause and reflect on all the things that the mad nun could be doing and totally getting away with it, not even a wrongdoing. All right, anyway. So that was fun. And we got a new character. All right. I will continue for a bit. I don't know how many I'm going to read. We'll find out. You already know, of course, because it was in the title scroll. Expiation, Pācittiya 53. Now at that time, the enlightened one, the Lord, was staying at Savatthi in the Jeta Grove in Anathapindika's monastery. Now at that time, the nun Kandakali, yes, we saw her earlier. You remember? Anyway, was one who made strife, right? So he was one who, got mad and smashed things at a funeral, and she's one who makes strife. It's sort of like spiritual brother and sister, right? Who made quarrels, who made contention, who made brawls, who made disputes in the order. 3 dots, parentheses, see formal meeting 4. I don't feel like explaining it again, says I.B. Horner of the Polytext Society. Yes, thank you, Polytexts. end parentheses, 3 dots, the nun Tulananda, saying, quote, these are ignorant, these are inexperienced, they do not even know a parentheses, formal end parentheses, act. Okay, me in the past, let's do another flashback to formal meeting 4 and fill in all the missing stuff that I.B. Horner didn't feel like mentioning today. Khandakali was one who made strife, who made quarrels, who made contention, who made brawls, who made disputes in the order. The nun Tulananda protested when a parentheses formal end parentheses act was being carried out against her. At that time, the nun Tulananda went to a village on some business. Then the order of nuns, thinking, quote, the nun Tulananda has gone away, end quote, suspended the nun Khandakali for not seeing an offense. The nun Tulananda, having concluded that business in the village, returned again to Savatthi. When the nun Tulananda was coming, the nun Khandakali neither made ready a seat nor put out water for washing her feet. A footstool, a footstand, nor having gone out to meet her did she shake her bowl and take her bowl and robe, nor did she offer her drinking water. The nun Tulananda spoke thus to the nun Khandakali, quote, why did you, lady, when I was coming, neither make ready a seat for me, nor put out water for washing the feet? A footstool, a footstand, nor having gone out to meet me, take my bowl and robe, nor offer me drinking water? End quote. Quote, surely it is this, lady, that I am without a mistress in regard to this. End quote. Quote, but why are you, lady, without a mistress? End quote. Quote, lady, these nuns saying of me, she is without a mistress, saying of me, quote within quotes, she is without a mistress, she is not esteemed, there is no one who can answer for her, end quote within quotes, suspended me for not seeing an offense, end quote. The nun Tulananda saying, quote, these are ignorant, these are inexperienced, they do not, parentheses, even end parentheses, know, a parentheses, formal end parentheses, act, or the defect of a parentheses, formal end parentheses, act. Okay, so now things should be making a little more sense. Yes, so Tulananda talking, they do not know a formal act or the defect of a parentheses, formal end parentheses, act, or the failure of a parentheses, formal end parentheses, act, or the success of a parentheses, formal end parentheses, act, end quote. And being quick-tempered, she abused a group. Those who were modest nuns, 3 dots, spread it about, saying, quote, how can the lady Tulananda, being quick-tempered, abuse a group? End quote, 3 dots. Quote, is it true, as is said, monks, that the nun Tulananda, being quick-tempered, abused a group? End quote, quote, it is true, Lord, end quote. The enlightened one, the Lord, rebuked them, saying, quote, how, monks, can the nun Tulananda, 3 dots, abuse a group? It is not, monks, for pleasing those who are not, parentheses, yet, end parentheses, pleased, 3 dots, this rule of training. Whatever nun, being quick-tempered, should abuse a group, there is an offense of expiation. End quote. Thank you, Kandakali Tulananda. Whatever means 3 dots, you remember? Whatever. None means 3 dots. Being quick-tempered means she is called angry. Group means it is called an order of nuns. Should abuse means if she abuses, saying, quote, these are ignorant, these are inexperienced, they do not even know a parentheses formal end parentheses act, 3 dots, or the success of a parentheses formal end parentheses act, end quote, there is an offense of expiation. If she abuses several nuns or one nun or one who is not ordained, there is an offense of wrongdoing. There is no offense if she is aiming at parentheses, explaining end parentheses, the goal, 3 dots, parentheses, C52, the one we just did, end parentheses, 3 dots, if she is the first wrongdoer. I think by the time we get to the end of the rules, the whole rule is just going to be 3 dots. Parentheses, see this previous one. Parentheses, see that previous one. Anyway, continuing. Expiation. Pācittiya. 54. At one time, the enlightened one, the Lord, was staying at Savatthi in the Jeta Grove in Anathapindika's monastery. Now at that time, a certain Brahmin, having invited nuns, offered them food. 3 dots. What happened? There's no context for what would go in those 3 dots. All right. The rule was amended for the monks, but not for the nuns. All right. Quote, 3 dots. Whatever nun, being invited or being satisfied, should eat or partake of solid food or soft food, there is an offense of expiation. What on earth is this? Polytech Society, you dropped the ball entirely on Pācittiya 54. There is no way to know what the rule is. A Brahmin invited them for food. Whatever nun being invited or being satisfied should eat or partake of solid food or soft food, there is an offense of expiation. All right. I guess. That's really strange. I don't understand. Sorry, everybody. I mean, I'm just reading what's in here. In this case, it didn't tell us anything, really. Whatever means 3 dots. Maybe this will explain. Whatever means 3 dots, none means 3 dots. Being invited means being invited to any one meal of the 5 parentheses kinds of meals, end parentheses. Kinds of end parentheses meals. Being satisfied means eating is to be seen. A meal is to be seen. Standing within a reach of the hand, she asks, parentheses, her, end parentheses, a refusal is to be seen. Eating until being satisfied. I don't know. Solid food means setting aside the 5 parentheses kinds of end parentheses meals. Kanji, food, parentheses that may be eaten, end parentheses. During a watch of the night, during 7 days, during life. The rest means solid food. Okay? Soft food means the 5 parentheses kinds of end parentheses meals, 3 dots. Meat. If she accepts thinking, quote, I will eat, I will partake of, end quote, there is an offense of wrongdoing. For every mouthful, there is an offense of expiation. If she accepts for the sake of nutriment, parentheses, food to be eaten, end parentheses, during a watch of the night, during 7 days, during life, there is an offense of wrongdoing. For every mouthful, there is an offense of wrongdoing. There is no offense if, being invited, parentheses, but, end parentheses, not being satisfied, she drinks kanji. If she eats having asked the owner, parentheses, for permission, end parentheses. If, when there is a reason, she makes use of, parentheses, food to be eaten, end parentheses, during a watch of the night, during 7 days, during life, if she is mad, if she is the first wrongdoer. Well, I mean, I feel like it's a good thing that we had that fun, interesting rule with the murder stuff. I mean, you know, attempted murder at the beginning of this episode, because, wow, I mean, that would have been a horrible one to open with. I don't know what the rule was. So nuns aren't supposed to eat without permission when they're invited to go eat. I guess. I don't know. I really don't know. If you are a Theravadan scholar and you are familiar with Pācittiya 54, please feel free to comment below and explain what we missed in that one. Okay. Expiation, Pācittiya 55. Thank you, Sammy Hagar. 3 dots. I mean, at one time, the enlightened one, the Lord, was staying at Savatthi in the Jeta Grove in Anathapindika's monastery. Now at that time, a certain nun, walking for alms along a certain road in Savatthi, approached a certain family. Having approached, she sat down on an appointed seat. Then these people, having offered food to this nun, spoke thus, quote, "Lady, other nuns may also come," end quote. Then this nun, thinking, quote, "How may these nuns not come?" End quote. Having approached the nuns, spoke thus, quote, "Ladies, in such and such a place there are fierce dogs, a wild bull, the place is a swamp, do not go there." Okay, end quote. But a certain nun, walking for alms along that road, approached that family. Having approached, she sat down on an appointed seat. Then these people, having offered food to that nun, spoke thus, quote, "Why do not the other nuns come, lady?" End quote. Then this nun told this matter to those people. The people, 3 dots, spread it about, saying, quote, "How can that nun be grudging as to families?" End quote. 3 dots. Quote, "Is it true, as is said, monks, that a nun was grudging as to families?" End quote. Quote, "It is true, Lord." End quote. The enlightened one, the Lord, rebuked them, saying, quote, "How, monks, can a nun be grudging as to families? It is not, monks, for pleasing those who are not, parentheses, yet, end parentheses, pleased." 3 dots. This rule of training. Whatever nun should be one who is grudging as to families, there is an offense of expiation. End quote. Whatever means 3 dots. Nun means 3 dots. Family means 3 dots. Low caste family. So I think that let's just, I'm not sure, I'm going to have to go searching for it, but Editor Edward, let's go ahead and throw in what family means. Family means there are 4 parentheses kinds of, end parentheses, families. A noble family, a Brahmin family, a merchant family, a low caste family. See? Otherwise, it says family means 3 dots, low caste family, which is misleading. Okay, should be one who is grudging as to families means if they say, quote, "Why do the nuns not come?" End parentheses, end quote. Parentheses and, end parentheses, she speaks dispraise of a family in front of nuns, there is an offense of expiation. Or if she speaks dispraise of nuns in front of a family, there is an offense of expiation. There is no offense if not being grudging as to families. She merely explains that there is a danger. If she is mad, if she is the first wrongdoer. Okay, so in spite of the obvious difficulties we had today, I hope that you enjoyed at least Pācittiya 52 and perhaps the rest of it, I don't know. But, okay, I will go ahead and close. To the north and to the south, to the east and to the west, to the spirits of light among us and to the spirits below, we send out our reverent love and compassion. May all beings be happy. May all beings be serene. May all beings be in peace.